Jurassic World Rebirth is coming out this 4th of July weekend, and we were able to see an early screening of it. So is Jurassic Park back, or is it yet another flop in a series of, let's be honest, mostly flops? Hey everyone, I'm John Lunsford, and Rebirth is the 7th movie in the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World series. What started off as an incredible film in 1993 off Michael Crichton's novel with Jurassic Park has spawned an entire franchise with not only a bunch of movies, but some animated TV shows, video games, multiple theme park attractions, and more. It's a franchise that has seen some incredible ups and some incredible downs. While the original Jurassic Park is revered as a classic, the sequels The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 are ultimately not looked on as fondly, although the two films still combined for around $1 billion. The franchise hit a hiatus for 14 years until we got Jurassic World, which starred Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and brought the franchise back to a worldwide phenomenon. The film got much better reviews and is currently a top 10 grossing film of all time, although with Avatar 3 and a few Avengers movies on the horizon, I imagine it'll drop a bit. But still, it spawned a second trilogy of films that saw all three films break the $1 billion mark. Although the second and third films of that series, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, were met with some of the same criticisms of the first, second, and third films. You can't deny the impact, though, that the franchise has had, specifically the original Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films, as the franchise has still made over $6 billion across the first 6 movies. Jurassic World Rebirth will look to do the same, but we'll see if it can pull it off. So the premise of these films, to quickly catch you up if you've lived under a rock for the last 30 plus years, is that dinosaurs have been brought back to life thanks to cloning by extracting DNA from prehistoric mosquitoes preserved in amber. In the original film, they note that all the dinosaurs were manipulated to be female to prevent breeding, so that way they can control how many are made, and they use frogs and other animals to fill in the gaps within the genome. A man named John Hammond created Jurassic Park on an island off the coast of Costa Rica, which is a theme park / zoo of sorts to showcase the dinosaurs. Well, things go awry from there, and we get a great action / sci-fi / horror film as the dinosaurs escape captivity and hunt as, well, dinosaurs do. We also learn that the dinosaurs can manipulate their sex because of some amphibious DNA they use from frogs that allow that, so they can now breed with one another, enabling Jeff Goldblum's famous line,
"It's one thing the history of evolution has taught us. It's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is."
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
So after surviving the park, we find out there are actually other islands involved in all of this, which leads to the events of the second and third movies, but those stories are whatever, so let's just move on. Alan. Before we get to Jurassic World, where the vision of a dinosaur theme park has actually come to life, with actual people coming to a real-life Disney World built off of dinosaurs. Of course, things go horribly wrong when a new hybrid dinosaur called the Indominus Rex escapes, and havoc ensues on the park, proving what we already knew. This was a terrible idea. Then Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom sees what is the premise of a lot of these movies, the hunt for DNA. After the theme park goes up in flames, we learn that the whole island is about to literally go up in flames, as the island the theme park was built on is about to have a volcano erupt, which will destroy everything on it. Of course, they want to save what dinosaurs they can because why not? And then we find out they really want to bring them to auction them off to the highest bidder. Part of the subplot of the trilogy is that you want to use dinosaurs for military purposes because that's kind of the subplot of a lot of things. But they bring the dinosaurs onto the mainland to auction them off, and middle, the dinosaurs break out and go into the world and live amongst humans everywhere. Now that is where I thought things could get very interesting and make for some incredible storytelling. So while I didn't really like the 5th movie, I thought that story plot point could be really good moving forward. However, the 6th film in the series, Dominion, failed miserably at that, in my opinion. So then we get Jurassic World Rebirth, which brings in a whole new cast, but stays within the same world. That's what made me somewhat hesitantly excited for this film. Maybe this movie can handle the whole dinosaurs in the wild thing better than Dominion did. Well, about 5 minutes into the movie, that is completely shot down. They explain that the environment on Earth is mostly inhospitable to the dinosaurs, so the remainder have mostly moved to a few islands around the equator because the climate there is better for them like it used to be back in the day. They basically say, well, that was fun, but all the dinosaurs are dying now. It literally starts with a massive dinosaur dying on the streets of a city and blocking traffic. So that was kind of depressing. So the story now follows Scarlett Johansson as Zora, a mercenary who's hired by a pharmaceutical company for, you guessed it, going to the islands and extracting DNA. She works alongside Dr. Henry Loomis, played by Jonathan Bailey, who is a paleontologist and super dinosaur nerd. He works in a museum that is basically shutting down because no one cares about the dinosaurs anymore. They act like the dinosaurs were a fad, and basically within a few years, nobody cared about them anymore. The film also stars Mahershala Ali as Duncan Kincaid, who Zora hires as the team's leader. The person paying for everything and representing the pharmaceutical company and ultimately the bad guy is Martin Krebs, played by Rupert Friend. The DNA they want to extract is from the largest dinosaurs from sea, land, and air. The reason they want the largest dinosaurs is because they have the largest hearts. Therefore, they think they can find a miracle cure for all kind of heart disease from it. So from the sea, it's the Mosasaurus, which we've seen in all the other Jurassic World movies. I'm actually very intrigued by this dinosaur randomly roaming in the oceans. I think it could make for some cool storylines. But the one we get instead is a random family of a dad and his two daughters and the oldest daughter's boyfriend on a boat out in the middle of the Atlantic. We're talking like 2 high schoolers and a small child. They decide they're going to cross the Atlantic and are taken out by the Mosasaurus in the water. So that leads to a storyline that, honestly, I don't think added anything to the movie. The 2 storylines are the story with the stars in it and then the story with the family. I'm convinced the family was just put there to piss everyone off. You know when you watch a horror movie and it's so bad because, they follow all the typical horror tropes, but it's just so obvious that the script called for stupidity on purpose to where it doesn't even make it fun to watch the killings? That's kind of how this family was. How many dumb things can we possibly do along the way to being rescued? And it's stuff that makes no sense. Sometimes you think, oh, well, that probably wasn't the choice I would have made. No, these are just dumb things that they do for literally no reason whatsoever. I won't get into the rest of the story to spoil things and what happens at the end, but I honestly wish that family storyline just wasn't in there. It would have made the movie about 30 minutes shorter, and we probably all would have been okay with it. The main point of these movies, though, is to have some cool dinosaurs and fun action sequences, and I will say we got that. The storylines of these films lately have been, hey, what weird concoction hybrid dinosaur did the scientists cook up this time? And hey, let's go get some DNA, and this film is no different. You've seen it in the trailers. It's a weird, deformed mutant dinosaur they called the Distortus Rex. Kind of looks like a Rancor from Star Wars. They say it looks like a xenomorph from Alien. I kind of see more Rancor from Star Wars, but it's a weird hybrid dinosaur that's in the trailers. The story they use in promoting the film calls this dinosaur one of the main antagonists, but I feel like it was ultimately a letdown in terms of being the big bad in the movie. One of the main dinosaurs was actually a Mutodon, which is a pterosaur and velociraptor put together, so imagine like a flying raptor, and they have a lot of run-ins with those instead, along with the Mosasaurus early on before they get onto land. So I wouldn't say there's one big bad in this, it's just that, hey, dinosaurs exist now, so be careful. And I think I would have liked it better maybe from a storyline perspective if there was one big bad dinosaur chasing them across the island, and maybe then that dinosaur has some run-ins with other dinosaurs to show how powerful it actually can be. All in all, there were some things to like, but however, there were definitely some things to hate. However, like I said in my Out of the Theater review, I think it did the job of being a fun summer movie, but ultimately it's not going to be one I revisit like the original Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. I probably like it better than any of the other sequels to Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, but that's not really saying much. The more I think about it, the more faults I do find in it, but I'm still going to recommend going to see it in theaters. I'll probably downgrade my out of the theater reaction from pretty good to it's all right because I was still having that adrenaline from seeing a lot of cool dinosaurs and stuff, but there's still some fun to be had with this movie, so don't count it out. If you're looking for a fun time during the 4th of July, go see it and enjoy. You still have that iconic John Williams score, although he hasn't actually done the music since the first couple of films. You still have some big dinosaurs that are just cool to look at, if anything. But if you're like me and still waiting on them to pay off the whole dinosaurs were released into the world plot point, you're going to ultimately be disappointed. I don't know what's next for this franchise. This one didn't necessarily lead off to a sequel, and it's very much its own contained story. I don't know if Universal feels like they have to make another trilogy or if they're going to tell some unique stories within the universe. I think there may be some stories still to be told. I'm just not sure of the direction they actually should take from a story standpoint or a financial standpoint that will really work for audiences. So what do you think of this film and where do you think things go from here? Let me know in the comments and make sure to subscribe to get all of our out of the theater reactions for all of the awesome summer movies coming out right here on The Pop Culture Life.